Good morning, I'm Mikey Oreta.
And I'm Jack Madrid. Welcome to Industry Beacon, where we shine a light on the trailblazers, the disruptors, the titans of industry, shaping our future.
We're not just talking about success stories here, we're diving deep into their hearts and minds to see what drives them. Now today we take a look at the thriving IT industry with one of its biggest players globally and locally, IBM. IBM Philippines in particular has been in the country for decades, providing IT expertise and delivering top-notch tech services and business solutions.
That's right, Mikey. To name a few, those services include cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and enterprise software to business. IBM is also involved in a number of partnerships to advance digital transformation.
And here with us today in the studio is Sanjiv Gupta, the President and Country Head of IBM Solutions Delivery and Business Services in the Philippines. Hello, Sanjiv, and hello, Jack.
Hi, Mikey. Hi, Jack. Thanks for having me here.
All right, I'll fire the first shot. Now, IBM is one of the oldest and largest tech firms in the world, over a century old. You reinvented yourself in multiple tech eras and economic cycles. You invented the typewriter, the magnetic strip card, the floppy disk, the ATM, and the world's first smartphone, which doesn't look anything like the ones we have today, but it was a start. What is IBM doing today, and what are you doing specifically in the Philippines?
IBM's core mission today is to help the digital transformation of our clients, leveraging hybrid cloud and AI. That's our mission statement. Now, in the Philippines, we have been here since 1937. Which is like almost 87 plus years, and I'm proud to say that Philippines was one of the first 6 countries globally for IBM to start its operations, and today we are present in 170 countries. So you can imagine, right, the history that we have got in association with the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to today. I mean, technology is moving really, really fast, and IBM continues to be relevant and driving this digital transformation. How would you describe the current landscape of IT, Sanjiv, specifically in the Philippines, and how do we stack up compared to the globe?
I will respond to this in 3 parts. The first is about the market. The second is about the type of work that we do out of the Philippines. And the third is about talent. So let me first get to the market. Globally, I think there are only 2 countries which are truly doing global delivery work in technology. One is India, the other is Philippines. Every other country is either a regional service provider or a local in-country service provider, right? Now, for the markets that are addressed by Philippines, it's largely US dominated, mostly for the US. Plus domestic here in the Philippines, because this is one of the fastest growing economies today, most of the players are the boutique companies which are addressing this. So these 2 are the major drivers of IT industry here. Second to that would be work that is getting done for Japan because of the Japanese native presence that we have out here, plus the language capabilities that are present in the country. I would say a third and the fourth would be possibly Europe and Asia Pacific. So that's the market coverage. The type of work, majority that gets done in technology consulting out of the Philippines is largely application management services, which is like supporting the global applications of different enterprises. That gets done out here majorly. Since the US market is the dominant market, most of the work that gets done here is in night shift here in the Philippines, which is daytime business hours for the Philippines. Now, coming to talent, which is the third aspect, any enterprise globally typically looks at 3 parameters when they choose where to get the work done by, right? The first parameter is scale of talent. The second is the cost of the service that comes out of there. And the third is subject matter expertise, which is typically that comes with the experience. Now, Philippines, if I take aside India, right, which is possibly the mothership of offshore delivery today, Philippines wins hands down as compared to any other country when it comes to scale and cost, right? I think where we need to put our energy and focus, right, would be on developing that subject matter expertise and developing the experience, right? And I think, Jack, it's like homecoming for me when we spoke about these topics in Promptly Speaking as well, right? I really look forward to Filipinos who are in other countries today to find an ecosystem here to come and leverage their expertise that they've gained there to kind of develop it here, right?
Sanjiv, let's pick up on Filipino talent because there's this perception that we don't really have the requisite IT skills here in the country compared to India. Now, how would you respond to that perception? Because you've been a leader in developing Filipino tech talent.
I think it's only a timing issue out here, why that perception has got created. India also started with a very young workforce, right? And I'm talking about, let's say, about 1.5, 2 decades back, post Y2K, boom, when offshoring really took up. Philippines today has the youngest talent pool worldwide. The average age of the workforce out here in IT BPM industry is just 24. Yeah. India is 28. If you go further on, China is 38, US is 42, you've got Japan is 48, and so on and so forth, right? The fact that it's a young workforce, right? Majority of the tech talent, which is where I would say the shift is happening in the country. We all know Philippines is the global leader as far as BPO is concerned, right? That's where the image has, kind of built. The current pool of talent is actually shifting towards IT. You can see the number of grads that are coming out of, engineering colleges here in computer science and information technology. It's really going up. Now, that being the case, the talent is young. When I say young, you get the supply largely in the, I would say, in a pyramid. That is where the teams are typically formed at the lower layers, right? People who would do testing work, people who would do, I would say, the repeatable designs and configuration and so on and so forth in the applications. That's the reason why there is a perception that possibly Philippines doesn't have, because you're looking still for the subject matter expertise, right? Mm-hmm. Having said that, I still believe that the boutique companies out here are doing a very good job, because they are catering to the needs of the local enterprises out here, and they have got some rock solid talent, right? And I wouldn't be ashamed of saying that we do look for to hire actually a lot of those talent here in IBM, right?
Yeah, okay. Speaking of talent, I wanted to get a deeper sense of what IBM does, particularly in the Philippines, to understand where we can fill the talent gap. Okay, that said, IBM Philippines has 3 parts to your operations here. You service the domestic market, and you've got exports for tech and processes. And I understand that your biggest client on the domestic market is BPI, and in terms of exporting what you do, your biggest clients are T-Mobile, Ernst & Young, and others that can't be named. Can you talk to us about what you do in the Philippines, Sanjiv?
Okay. So as I said, the 3 entities that you talked about, domestic is one entity, which is IBM Philippines, right? BPI, we are literally catering to all the banks out here, right? Technological services. And that's about their digital modernization. I think amongst all the ASEAN countries, Philippines is one of the, I would use the term last frontier right now in terms of digital transformation. Now, coming to the other 2 entities, technology, our biggest focus today, right, is around, of course, the world is talking about AI, right? How to leverage AI to transform the way the business process operations are done, right? And we have got this offering called as AI First BPO, which is the, the process services entity that services do. The interest out here of this conversation is around technology, right? Consulting, which is the 3rd entity, IBM Solutions Delivery. 2 areas which I would say are at the top of my list today in terms of work that gets done. The first is cybersecurity, right? This area is really booming in terms, and why? I think cybersecurity has been of importance for not of late, right? It has been there for decades, right? But since the time that the entire digital economy has come to the hands of every individual, every human being, which is our smartphones, the game has shifted completely as far as cybersecurity is concerned. Today, none of us know where our personal information is floating around in which part of the world, right? Last week, I got a access into my personal email account, Outlook account, and it was trying to log in. And it said it's coming from China. Fortunately, Outlook has got two-factor authentication. In addition to the password that you enter, they also flash on my mobile to say, do you allow login for this access which is currently being asked? So I went and denied that. But my worry was that this scamster somewhere actually has got my password. And that's the reason why he was able to get through the first. Now that's one. With the advent of AI, and Gen AI is kind of, you can do voice modulation, all the contacts that we have got on our cell phones, right? These contacts, you will get a call from them, and AI is helping them exactly speak like your contact. And they could be like, a relative, a friend who says, I'm in distress, I need some money, and we have got people who are transferring funds in the process. So this is happening in the world today, and that's why cyber security is #1 focus as far as I'm concerned in terms of the technology that we see coming in terms of work for us in the Philippines. Now that's one. The second area of technology where there is immense focus and demand, which I see in the center, it happens to be my biggest practice here in the Philippines, is for an enterprise resource package, which is called as SAP S/4HANA, right? I know all my technological savvy viewers would understand what I'm talking about here, but this is, in essence, the platform on which all the enterprises run their business processes. How you run your finance, how you run your procurement, your HR, your payroll, it runs on that background, which is an ERP, right, and SAP S/4HANA. SAP S/4HANA's latest version is currently on for last few years, right? But less than 50% of the enterprises globally today are ready to move on from the old version of SAP to the newer version by the deadline of 2027. So after 2027, the support for the old version is going to stop, which means all these companies worldwide who are today on SAP are going to face a challenge of support going forward. So everybody has to move. This has created huge demand for SAP S/4HANA. And that being the case, right, this is the time to be in this technology, which is SAP S/4HANA. And we are building this practice with the help of our global, global capabilities to kind of grow in the Philippines.
Let's go back to talent. That sounds like quite a hurdle that these 50% of companies need to prepare for. What are the implications of that, Sanjiv, on the work types and the skills that we need to build? What should our existing workforce and job seekers be gearing up for in terms of building their skill set?
Okay. See, there are 3 types of skills that are currently operating in the Philippines, as I said, right? You've got the contact centers, you've got the business process, consultants, and then you've got the technology. The contact centers are essentially the first level, right? And which is where they are either users of technology which is built on contact to different, incoming channels, right? You've got the users in the BPO, which are again using technology of the processes, right, that are at the back end of all the companies. Where I see the shifts happening, right, in the process, to your question on where I see the talent kind of, the contact centers are best equipped to actually run the business processes going forward. So I see a shift of contact center agents. Think of a banking application, right, which a contact center is receiving calls on how to manage the credit card application of the customers, right? Now that credit application, management of that is being done after the contact center agent takes it by the BPO people. This contact center, after doing it repeatedly, knows very well how this whole process runs. So this contact center can shift to BPO. Now the BPO people who are doing, let's say, payables, receivables, managing the general ledger, and so on and so forth, are the people who know the business process very well. They become testers or configurators of the ERP systems and technology, right? So what I see happening in terms of, in the Philippines is these contact center agents will move into BPO work, and the BPO will move into technology. And that's the way your workforce is going to build up eventually.
My next question is about IBM and how it's being able to leverage advancements in AI, machine learning, and in general automation to enhance service delivery, and how do you maintain that competitive edge?
I think we have got, it's a good segue into a conversation about our starting point is what is the world, what are the challenges that enterprises are facing today, right? We have got a entity called as IBM Institute for Business Value, IBV, which does research every year with CEOs worldwide and comes up with what are their challenges, right, today. So the last study was done this year, and the publication came out in 2024, May, where 2,500 CEOs from 30 different countries were surveyed and interviewed to come up with what are their next steps, challenges in the age of AI, right? Now, what came out in that process is 6 areas which IBM is calling as the 6 hard truths in the age of AI, right, which the CEOs need to tackle. Now, when we look at it, and Jack, we are going to have the IBPAP CXO forum on 16th of October. So IBM is going to talk about those 6 truths right out there as the keynote. So I'll leave it for that, but I'm going to talk about 2, right, in the process. One is the customer isn't always right. I think all of us have grown with the thought process that the customer is right? But in today's era, the customer doesn't know what is coming in the age of generative, because generative AI is generating things which you could have never even imagined and thought could happen. So as a result of that, the art of the possible is actually coming into. So the customers need to be told that this is what is possible for you now. So that's the reality in the ground. Right? So our clients or enterprises globally are wondering, how do I really handle that, this situation? And that is where we have taken that as a problem statement, we have started generating. So IBM as a company has launched something called as an IBM Consulting Advantage, right, which essentially takes into, it's an our AI services platform. So the latest of all digital assets and AI accelerators, right, I'm using some tech jargons, by the way, right, to kind of help our clients embark on their transformation journeys, right? So just picking on that example. I'll just pick on another one, right? What we do is, the finding is people hate progress. It's a very interesting finding, right, out of that research. What it means is that human beings, by default, are very comfortable in the way things are working today. So all the enterprises globally, the CEO's struggle is to drive that transformation in a company where people want to keep doing things the way they want to do, not change. Right?
It's tough for you guys because you're in this space where you are generating all these new things, all these new applications,
Absolutely.
all these new softwares that everyone will continuously have to update and upgrade to.
Absolutely, right.
Okay, so yeah.
So we'll talk more about this in that CXO forum. Yeah. Go ahead,
So
Mikey.
IBM is in the business of cutting edge technology. What is the technology or what is the innovation that you are most excited about that IBM is working on?
Okay. So one is, I'll talk about AI, is where IBM has got its own large language models. We've got our Granite model, which is one of the bigger ones today in the marketplace, apart from what Google is offering, Amazon is offering, and so on and so forth, right? But where IBM is really at the front end at this time for things to come, which will completely change the world of computing, right? And you alluded to the history of IBM, where we started with typewriters and the PCs and so on and so forth, right? The smartphones. It's about quantum computing, right? Quantum computing is coming. The first initial server is already there, right? And we are working with different, institutions out there in the US to kind of, make progress and on that. But if I have to crudely explain, the entire digital computing worldwide today runs on the binary code, right, which is 0 and 1. Every data that we talk about flows in either in the form of 1 or 0. Quantum computing is going to bring it in a different state, which is somewhere fuzzy in between. and that is going to yield completely different outcomes, which is beyond imagination. Wow. Right? So that's the new thing that IBM is really, So it's like, watch out the space, I would say, in the coming years. Right?
An exciting topic for our next conversation, Sanjiv. I want to thank you, Sanjiv Gupta of IBM Solutions Delivery and Business Services, for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Mikey and Jack.
Really interesting good discussion. What we were talking about now is the stuff that was in sci-fi years ago. Yeah. But anyway, that's all the time we have for today. Okay. And that's it for today's show. I'm Mikey Oreta.
And I'm Jack Madrid. Catch the Billionaire News Channel on Free TV Channel 31 and on Cable TV Cignal Channel 24.
Thanks for watching the Billionaire News Channel, always on top.